studios in Oklahoma City. This is OU Football with Jake Trotter. I'm Jenny Carlson. Our OU coverage is brought to you by Loft 401 in Norman. Jake, let's talk about some of the toughest games on the Sooner schedule. You say OU Texas, toughest game for the Sooners. Any surprise there?
Well, that's always usually the toughest game. We'll see in the future when they go to places like Columbus and South Bend and Baton Rouge. But I think this year, Texas is going to be the toughest game. You know, I got a lot of emails already this morning about putting Florida State number 6, and that's not really a slight against Florida State. You know, last year Miami, who I don't think will be as good as Florida State will be this year, I thought was going to be their second, maybe even their toughest game because it was on the road. You know, this game's in Norman, and OU has KO'd just about everybody that's come to Norman since that TCU game in 2005, and that's why you have games like Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, Missouri. That'll be tougher in my opinion because they're on the road.
Well, and that leads me to my next question about Cincinnati. That's your second toughest game. Is the road factor the biggest part of that for you?
Absolutely. I mean, OU has won 30 straight games at home, and it's not like they're beating people by 3 points either. We saw Texas Tech come to Norman a couple of years ago, get beat by 40. I think last year OU wasn't really maybe the worst team they've had since 2005, and they still beat, Tulsa by 40 and Idaho State by, 64 and Oklahoma State in the season finale by 27. So, and that was a team that, went to the Cotton Bowl. The home factor for OU, I think, is going to be too much for Florida State, but those road games, very dangerous.
Okay, and the last thing, 3 and 4. Some people might wonder about your picks at 3 and 4. 3 was the game at Texas A&M, always a tough place to go and win at College Station. But 4 on your list is the game at Stillwater. I think a lot of people might say, hey, I think that game at Stillwater may be tougher than the game at A&M. Talk a little bit about your rationale there.
Well, usually that would be the case. I just think A&M is going to be a little bit better than OSU this year. This is the year A&M has been gunning for. They have the quarterback, Gerard Johnson, back. They have all the skill positions set. They can't be any worse than they were defensively, especially with Von Miller, the defensive end linebacker, back. And Oklahoma State's retooling a little bit. They have new quarterback, new offense. They got several starters they're having to replace defensively. I'm not saying that's going to be an easy game. I just think A&M will be a little bit tougher.
All right. Thanks, Jake. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.